Hello, good evening. Gwent police have carried out the biggest drugs raid in their history, targeting Class A drugs like cocaine from properties in Newport. 25 people have been arrested so far. Officers say the operation is ongoing and they're still looking for another 5 men. Our reporter Jordan Davis has been following the story. What more can you tell us, Jordan?
Well, Jamie, Gwent police say this is the largest drugs operation they've ever undertaken. Raids were carried out across Newport. It began in the early hours of this morning, and it's still ongoing. It looks like a lecture. In fact, it was a 3-hour overnight briefing ahead of the largest drugs raid ever carried out by Gwent police. Specially trained officers carried out simultaneous raids across Newport at 5 o'clock in the morning. They were equipped with chainsaws to quickly break through doors.
It was a culmination of a couple of months' work of investigation work from mid to late last year, where a number of concerns from the community and other partner agencies around the increase of Class A drugs use in the Newport area. And given the addresses and the number of people that we are looking to arrest and bring to justice in relation to this, it was a requirement to bring in a number of officers to do that.
300 officers were involved in the 14 raids, centred on Corporation Road. It was months in the planning. Police say the operation is ongoing and they're still looking for these 5 people following the raids. Gwent police say there's been a rise in the use and supply of Class A drugs like cocaine and opiates, but they say there's been a fall in the use of so-called legal highs. Gwent police say this rise in Class A drugs is what's behind this raid. But if you look at the period before this recent rise, you'll see the number of drug seizures in Gwent has been going down. There were around 2,300 seizures of controlled substances in Gwent for the financial year 2010 to 2011. 5 years later, that fell to around 1,300. But there were proportionally more Class A's seized that year in Wales than over the border in England. Those who help treat drug users in Newport say the age range of people using these kinds of drugs is increasing.
Definitely now our main age range would be from that 25 to 35 age. So older people are now seeking support for Class A use rather than younger people. You know, they're not having the opportunities that maybe were available before to break away from their substance misuse, and they're very much getting more caught in to that lifestyle.
This is a significant operation, and Gwent police say it's not over and may continue for the next few days, which could lead to more arrests. Now, as of this moment, 4 people have been charged with supplying Class A drugs. 3 of those have been remanded into custody. 25 people have been arrested, and we're expecting our next update tomorrow morning.
Jordan Davis in Newport, keep us posted. Thank you. Cardiff Crown Court has heard how a paramedic thought a 24-year-old student had been dead for some time because she was so badly bruised. Shishi B, who had a broken jaw and ribs following the attack at her flat in Llandaff last year, was taken to hospital where she was pronounced dead. Her boyfriend, Jordan Matthews, admits manslaughter but denies murder. A couple from Blackwood who led a gang which stole £250,000 worth of cars have been sentenced after being caught by a BBC Crime Watch appeal. Stephen Probert was jailed for 1 year and 8 months. His girlfriend, Vicky Banks, was given an 8-month prison sentence, suspended for 2 years. The pair were on the run for 2 years, living in Cyprus. The Assembly is still stuck in the EU referendum campaign and hasn't moved on, creating a disconnect with the Welsh public who voted for Brexit. So says the leader of the Welsh Conservatives, Andrew T. Davis, R.T. Davis. He says that AMs should instead focus more on preparing for life outside the European Union. Well, let's talk to our political editor, Nick Savini. Nick, so Assembly members have been debating Brexit today.
They have. They've been debating for over 2 hours, Jamie. Among other things, the Welsh Government's plan for exiting the EU, which it has given to the UK Government with the help of Plaid Cymru. And interestingly, there's an amendment that they'll vote on tonight from Plaid, which says that Article 50, the official start of the Brexit negotiations, should not be triggered unless Wales has full participation in the single market. Well, now, we are not expecting expecting that to be supported tonight. But the Welsh Conservatives say that proves the points made by Andrew R.T. Davies in a committee of the House of Lords here at the Senedd this morning, when he characterised this institution as a place that is in a way locked in a kind of Groundhog Day scenario, constantly replaying the kinds of claims and counterclaims that we saw in the referendum campaign in the summer, and unable to break free of it. And I think that was reflected at its peak in the debate in the last hour or so, when Mark Isherwood, the Brexit-supporting Conservative AM, shouted across the chamber to all the Remain Assembly members that they were living in a dreamland. In other words, they were really out of touch with the reality of what most people think out there.
So what's the purpose of this vote tonight?
Well, no legal weight behind it, but it is all about sending signals. And I think it is about the institution here trying to find a voice when it comes to Brexit. You know, it's got a choice to make in the next few months. Does it have lots of these big picture debates? Or does it focus on things that it really can control, things like education and health, but risk the accusation that it's ignoring the elephant in the room, which is Brexit? So I suspect it will find its voice eventually, but I also suspect we'll have to wait until the official negotiations get underway and this process really starts for the Assembly, like so many other political institutions, to really find its true voice in this.
Nick Savini, thank you. And just staying in Cardiff Bay for a moment, UKIP's Assembly leader, Neil Hamilton, says it would be highly irresponsible to ban President Donald Trump from visiting the Senedd because it could put Welsh jobs at risk. This follows the House of Commons Speaker John Bercow's opposition to Trump addressing MPs on a state visit. The Assembly's presiding officer, Elin Jones, has already welcomed the Speaker's comments, tweeting, "There's no room at the inn for the US president." The Unite Union has given Ford management a 2-week ultimatum to produce a 5-year plan for its engine factory in Bridgend. The plant has won investment to build the new Dragon engines for the company from 2018. But it'll be making only a sixth of the engines that it makes now. 5 months ago, Ford said the 1,850 workers would not be affected. The General Secretary candidate, Len McCluskey, met managers at the plant today. He hopes it won't come to industrial action.
What I found was an enormous amount of anger. Our members are obviously looking for some form of answers from the company, and we haven't had those answers. But what we have to make clear to Fords is that we're not simply going to lie down and allow this fantastic plant to be closed and the future for our kids being taken away and communities devastated. We're not going to do that. That would not be the right thing to do.
Recycling centres in Powys look likely to be open for fewer days in future as the council aims to save money. A recommendation to close 2 centres in the county was changed because of public opposition. The decision to open them for 3 days a week from 5 will be voted on later this month. The national curriculum is having an overhaul, and there's concern tonight it's running into difficulties, even in its early stages. In 4 years' time, a new system should be in place, but an influential committee of Assembly members says stronger leadership from the Welsh Government is needed as the curriculum takes shape. Our education correspondent, Colette Hume, has the story.
Oh, excellent question.
They're learning a lesson about the 7 wonders of the world at Pencoed Comprehensive School, but it's a lesson with a difference, because the way the children are learning here could be the template for learning across Wales. Pencoed is one of more than 100 so-called pioneer schools. They're helping to shape a brand new curriculum for the next generation of children. It's an innovative approach.
It's very different. We're delighted with the freedom we've been given to trial new experiences and develop rich experiences for pupils.
The pressure is really on to design and deliver this new curriculum with literacy, numeracy and digital competency at its heart. The Welsh Government wants to deliver it to all schools and all pupils by 2021. That's 4 years from now. It might seem like a long time away, but in education terms, it really isn't. And now there are concerns that it might not be ready in time. Plans for the new look curriculum are going well here, but the influential Assembly Education Committee has written to Cabinet Secretary Kirsty Williams saying although the curriculum has wide support, stronger leadership and strategic direction is needed from the Welsh Government.
We welcome these reforms, but we are going to continue to scrutinise very carefully the progress in this area, and we want to see, above all, these reforms achieve a curriculum that is right for children and young people in Wales.
Teaching unions and education experts say schools need more help to prepare for the huge changes to the way children will learn.
Schools aren't being given the requisite support they need to develop, design and indeed implement the new national curriculum. It's a serious job of work, and we haven't done anything on this scale for the best part of 30 years. So it's going to take time. I think we've got to be realistic and give this change process a lot of time and energy.
The Welsh Government says it's confident that its approach is the right one for Pencoed and all others. With just 4 years until the new curriculum is due to be unveiled, the clock is ticking.
Well, for some 16 and 17-year-old school leavers, a career in the armed forces beckons. Tonight, a Plaid Cymru MP has called on the UK government to raise the recruitment age to 18 because of concerns around the health and well-being of youngsters. The UK is one of only 20 countries worldwide and the only country in Europe to recruit 16-year-olds to the armed forces. Of the 150,000 British servicemen and women, around 2,000 here are under 18. Here's James Williams.
Fighting in Kosovo in the late 1990s. Towards the end of the war, thousands of UK troops would join the front line under the NATO banner. 35-year-old Jamie McAnch from Cwmbran was one of them. 18 at the time, it was his first deployment, having joined the army at 16. His disability is unrelated to his time in the military.
Every other 16-year-old, 17-year-old at that point is making a career choice. So by upping the age within the military recruitment, what you're actually doing is stopping young people like myself who was determined to join the army. You're putting a halt on their career choice.
Pupils at Christ College in Brecon, a town and a school steeped in military history.
I think that at 16, you're not able to make that choice, and it's just, I think it's too young.
By joining up at 18, you might realise 2 years into that, no, the military's not for me, and equally just drop out.
I don't think you should join with the intention of thinking, oh, but I can drop out within the next 2 years. I don't think that should be a reason for joining or for considering it.
But it's also like a safety net.
Were 17-year-old Shupal to join the army tomorrow, he'd be in training for the first few years, unable to serve on the front line until he reached 18, like his friends Matt and Amy.
Order, order.
But it's this Plaid Cymru MP's wish that the recruitment age be raised from 16 to 18.
In terms of the medical outcomes for young people who are recruited under the age of 18, the chance of them suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder, the chance of them being affected by alcohol or substance abuse is way higher. And the qualifications which young people gain who've been recruited under the age of 18 do not equip them for life as an adult once they've left the army.
We need and we should have a junior entry. These are young adults that we can take and build their aspirations, their life skills, and they're actually, as I have done myself, perhaps get on in life slightly rather than writing them off that some people seem to want to do.
For these pupils, big life decisions lie ahead. And as it stands, a potential career in the army at 16 and 17 remains an option.
James Williams reporting. You're watching Wales Today from the BBC. Much more to come before 7 o'clock. How bad driving like this is increasingly being caught on camera by other motorists. And an historic night for Welsh netball, a record home crowd expected for the visit of New Zealand. Is enough money being spent on apprenticeships, although ministers here are committed to spending an extra £15 million this year. £138 million allocated to Wales from the UK government's purse will be spent elsewhere. The Welsh government says it'll create thousands of trainees over the next 5 years. So is this strategy to get more people into skilled work ambitious enough? Our business correspondent Brian Meakin reports.
GE Aviation, a global company with over 1,000 employees at its aircraft engine plant near Caerphilly. Jade Babington and Jonathan Ely are two people from the local area who've been through its apprenticeship scheme.
It's 3 years at the minute. So the first year we're full-time down the college down in Nangarrow, so we do a BTEC in engineering and study like workshop skills. And then the second and the third year then we're up on base.
I would like to do an engineering degree and go on to some higher education things, maybe push for an engineering degree or maybe business degree.
The Welsh Government funded 116,000 apprenticeships in the last 5 years. It's pledged to create a minimum of 100,000 in the next 5 years. But it'll move to more advanced apprenticeships, in some cases degree level, which are more expensive to provide. The new approach to apprenticeships is aimed at increasing the number of 16 to 19-year-olds who are taking them up, although they are open to all ages. There's also a focus on growth areas like engineering, technology, financial services and construction. But training apprentices is a costly business. Harris Pye is a Welsh company that employs 2,000 people worldwide in the oil and gas and energy sectors.
We've put hundreds of youngsters through the training school. It's all been self-funded, so it does come off the bottom line. But I think one estimate 2 years ago, I think we put training in this business at nearly £1 million.
Large companies in Wales, including Harris Pye and GE Aviation, will have to pay a new apprenticeship levy to the UK government, designed to fund new trainees. In England, that money will be spent solely on training workers, but the Welsh Government's rejected calls from business to do the same in Wales.
The key thing for us is ensuring that actually what is offered is actually what business needs, what employees need, and it's so important that it actually reflects reality on the ground. It isn't just an academic exercise.
Ministers argue that they've already seen budgets cut for skills and training.
Saying that we get £138 million from UK government actually ignores the fact that they've ended the former method of funding apprenticeships, which would have given us approximately 90 million, and they've also ended other forms of support for skills training. We've got the best apprenticeship system here in Wales of any of the UK nations. We're up there with Europe's best, and we want to build on the high quality that we've developed over the years.
Businesses want to make sure their voice is being heard in improving the apprenticeship system. They'll also want to be certain enough money is available for the workers of the future to have the skills they need to boost the economy.
Brian Meakin, now we all know we're captured on CCTV many times a day, but increasingly our driving is being recorded on dashboard cameras by other motorists. Hours of footage of bad driving has been sent to North Wales Police since they launched an appeal 3 months ago. And almost 60 cases of poor driving captured on dash cams or mobile phones have been dealt with by the force. Here's Matthew Richards.
So you see now a right-hand bend with double white lines, and the car goes for the overtake.
Operation Snap was launched in October, but these aren't the type of snaps you want to be seen in. Anyone who captures footage of incidents like this can send them directly to a dedicated police website.
Previously, we would receive a complaint within North Wales Police, and in the way that we work, there would be a minimum of 15 hours of an officer's time to deal with a complaint. It's a case of doing more with less and making the road safer.
These road users were offered either driver awareness training or points and a fine. The most serious examples can end up in court. North Wales Police say the benefits of employing people power means that drivers often behave very differently when a car like this pulls alongside them compared with a member of the public driving a car fitted with a dash cam.
It's the only way that the police can know what's happening on the roads, and I think it's a good idea that people should report things that they see. Things are going on that the police have no idea. There's no way they can cover everything.
You're driving along, doing the right thing, and then suddenly somebody will pull on the inside of you, and some speedo type,
I've got a child in the car, it's not safe for them. I want people to drive safer, and if they know that they're being watched, I know it's not a nice thought, but it might prevent some future offences.
Dr Bethan Loftus is a lecturer in criminal justice at Bangor University. She thinks the scheme has its benefits, but is concerned about the implication of handing some police power to the public.
Where will this end? Will
citizens be encouraged to send in footage of neighbours potentially, behaving badly, people protesting who are perhaps agitating to the police or to the state. So I think one of my key concerns would be around where the boundaries actually end.
The pioneering North Wales project has piqued the interest of forces from across the UK, as well as Hong Kong and Australia. In future, bad driving is more likely to be caught on camera and bad drivers caught by police.
Matthew Richards reporting tonight's sport now. Here's Thomas.
Jamie, thank you very much. And organisers are calling it a coup, hosting one of the biggest netball nations in the world. Wales welcome New Zealand here for the first time in 20 years tonight. It'll be the biggest home crowd ever. The demand for tickets means the 2 games against the Silver Ferns have been switched to a bigger venue.
There's no doubting their commitment, and over the next 2 evenings, they'll play host to arguably the netball-mad nation. A victory would be a surprise. Wales have never beaten the Silver Ferns. All 13 games have ended in defeat. But it's vital preparation for the Commonwealth Games, just 14 months away.
Currently we're ranked 8th in the world rankings, and our aim is to get to 6th position. So these 2 games now are fundamental in providing this platform.
While Wales's players juggle full-time jobs with training, the Silver Ferns are mostly professional and boast some of the most highly paid female sports stars back home. They're household names in New Zealand, their games on primetime TV.
There's a different playing field. Internationally, they get huge viewing figures for their test series, again on prime television. We don't compete with them in terms of exposure, but this is a great place to start.
It's there, Chris Culligan scores! The games will take place at the home of the Cardiff Devils. The players familiarise themselves with the arena, watching a match there at the weekend. The netball was moved to Ice Arena Wales after tickets sold out within hours. The national netball team usually play in front of just a few hundred. This time round, 2,000 people are expected, their biggest crowd ever. And it'll be played right here. The ice won't be removed. A special wooden structure will be brought in and the surface built on top.
Some of us haven't played against for more than 500 people, so this will be such an amazing atmosphere, and it's nice to play in front of a home crowd as well, because normally in tournaments it's in Scotland or World Cups in Australia, and they'll all be cheering for us hopefully, so we'll have the majority for once, which is nice.
A win is unlikely against the 4-time world champions, but in front of the biggest home crowd ever, a bit of history will be made tonight. And see how they get on at 7:20 tonight on the BBC Red Button and the BBC Sport Wales website. It's also live on the iPlayer and BBC Radio Wales. England's women's side are expected to win the Six Nations every year, but Wales will be confident when both sides meet on Saturday. That's according to coach Roland Phillips. Wales started their Six Nations campaign with a win over Italy last weekend. Next, it's the world champions at the Arms Park. Wales were victorious the last time they faced England at home 2 years ago.
England are always a threat. They're always, they are expected to probably win this championship every year. Because of the pool player players they got available. They got a very good club structure, games level in England. We do what Wales do, we just fight and fight and fight.
And for the first time ever, Wales women's rugby will be broadcast live on BBC Wales. The game against England is on BBC Two Wales from 11:20 on Saturday morning. To the men's game, and captain Alun Wyn-Jones says Wales won't accept a 6-day turnaround as an excuse for not performing well against England. Wales didn't arrive home until the early hours of Monday morning after beating Italy. England played at home on the Saturday. The sides face each other in Cardiff this weekend.
We could make a big fuss about it and say, yeah, it's going to be the difference, but that would essentially be an excuse. As domestic teams or regions, we do that quite often. We have shorter turnarounds. It's something you have to deal with. There is I suppose, an added intensity, physicality at the international level, but like I say, we've just got to get on with it.
Let's get on to the weather now, and Derek's with us tonight. Hi, Derek.
Hi there, Thomas. Well, I think the thermals will come in handy on Saturday. If you're in Cardiff for the rugby, it is going to turn much colder with a biting east wind. Not much wind about today, some blue sky and sunshine in Newborough and Anglesey, but the air has been unstable with heavy showers and hail in Mumbles. This evening, more showers to come. Again, heavy in places, little snow on the Brecon Beacons. Overnight, much of the country will become dry, gaps in the cloud and cold enough for a touch of frost. So a chilly start then tomorrow morning, but much of the country dry at 8 o'clock. Should be bright and sunny in parts of the west and the south. Further east, it's looking cloudier in Monmouthshire, cloudier too across most of Powys, north-eastwards towards Wrexham. Now, it is going to be much drier tomorrow, the air more stable. There'll be some sunshine as well. Having said that, towards the east of the country, cloudier here, maybe a few spots of light rain near the border. Top temperatures 5 to 9 Celsius with light winds. In Gwynedd tomorrow, much of the country dry, sunny spells, a high of 8 in Carnarvon. And in Bridgend tomorrow should be a nice day, dry with some sunshine, 7 in Maesteg. Tomorrow night, 1 or 2 light showers perhaps in Powys, otherwise dry. There'll be some patchy cloud, clear sky and a colder night, a widespread frost. Now, Thursday will be a colder day, should be sunny in the west and southwest. Elsewhere, cloudier but mostly dry and temperatures lower with a breeze. High pressure then over Scandinavia on Friday, and that means easterly winds for the UK. Those winds dragging colder air in from the continent. Friday, the coldest day of the week, feeling bitter in the wind. Maybe the odd snow flurry in the north and east, but no more than that. The best of the sunshine in the west. And looks like we are in for a cold weekend. Bright at times, some frost and 1 or 2 showers. No sign yet of any significant snow, Jamie.
Derek, thanks very much. I'll have an update for you here at 8 o'clock and again after the BBC News at 10. That's Wales Today. Thank you for watching. From all of us on the programme, good evening.